Imagine a world where every time you don't know something, you open one single website and the entire world's knowledge appears in front of you. Every question, every doubt, every curiosity answered in seconds. But have you ever stopped to think about the mind behind that system? Who created this digital doorway to human knowledge? This is the story of Larry Page. Not just a billionaire, not just the co-founder of Google, but a system builder who changed how humanity accesses information. He wasn't born into luxury, but he was born into ideas. A home filled with computers, books, and technology shaped a child who learned to think differently from the world around him. While other kids played with toys, he was surrounded by wires, machines, and questions. From a very young age, Larry Page developed a mindset of curiosity, logic, and problem-solving, always asking why and how, always trying to understand systems instead of just using them. That mindset followed him into university, into research labs, and eventually into Stanford, where a student research project didn't remain just a project, it became a global revolution. What started as a simple idea in a university environment soon transformed into a company that now lives in every phone, every computer, every school, every office, and every country on earth. Google is not just a company, it's a habit, a necessity, a global dependency. But the vision behind it was never just about money or power. It was about organizing the world's information, making it simple, and making it accessible to every human being. This video is not just a biography of Larry Page, it is a journey from curiosity to power, from a student to a system architect, from a small idea to the world's most powerful digital empire. Today, we will follow Larry Page's life from his birth to the present, his childhood, his mindset, his struggles, his vision, and the path that turned Google from a search engine into the backbone of the modern digital world. Birth and early environment. Larry Page was born on March 26, 1973, in Michigan, United States, into a world that was already filled with knowledge, technology, and ideas. His father was a professor of computer science, and his mother was a computer programming instructor. This meant that Larry did not grow up in a normal household. He grew up inside an ecosystem of learning. His home was filled with computers, magazines, research papers, and technical discussions. Technology was not something special for him. It was normal life. While other children were discovering toys, Larry was discovering machines. While other kids were learning how to play, he was learning how things worked. From a very young age, he developed a natural curiosity for systems, logic, and structure. He didn't just use things. He wanted to understand them. He would take objects apart just to see how they were built. He asked questions that most children never think about. His environment trained his brain to think differently. He learned that knowledge was not something you memorize, it was something you explored. This early exposure created the foundation of his mindset. Larry Page didn't grow up dreaming of becoming rich. He grew up learning how systems work, how information flows, and how technology shapes human life. His childhood didn't build ambition. It built curiosity. And curiosity is the most powerful fuel for innovation. Without knowing it, the future founder of Google was already being shaped not by luxury, but by learning, education, and mental growth. Larry Page's education was not just academic, it was psychological development. He studied in Montessori-style schools, where students are encouraged to think independently instead of memorizing information. This helped him develop creative thinking, problem-solving skills, and confidence in questioning authority. He didn't accept information just because it was given, he analyzed it. He learned to think in systems instead of subjects. Later, he joined the University of Michigan, where he studied engineering and computer science. Here, his technical thinking became more structured. He learned how data works, how systems communicate, and how algorithms can control large processes. But more importantly, he developed a mindset of building solutions, not just studying problems. Larry wasn't interested in grades. He was interested in impact. His real transformation happened when he entered Stanford University for his PhD. Stanford wasn't just a university. It was an innovation factory. It was a place where ideas turned into companies and research turned into revolutions. Surrounded by future entrepreneurs, researchers, and innovators. Larry's thinking expanded. He started seeing technology not as a tool, but as a force. Not as a career, but as a mission. He realized that information itself could be organized, structured, and optimized. That human knowledge could be turned into a system. Stanford didn't just educate him. It activated him. It gave him the environment where his curiosity met opportunity. And that combination would soon change the world. Meeting Sergey Brin. Every great story has a turning point, and Larry Page's turning point was meeting Sergey Brin at Stanford University. Their first meeting was not friendly. They argued, disagreed, and challenged each other constantly. But behind the disagreements, something powerful was happening. They both had the same mindset, questioning systems, challenging structures, and thinking beyond limits. They were different personalities, but identical thinkers. Together, they began working on a research project that focused on how information is ranked on the internet. At that time, search engines were chaotic, inaccurate, and unreliable. They didn't organize information. They dumped it. Larry and Sergey saw a different possibility. Instead of counting keywords, they analyzed relationships between web pages. They believed that links were vows, and trust could be calculated. This idea became the foundation of PageRank, an algorithm that ranked information based on credibility and connection, not just content. What started as a research project soon became something bigger. They weren't just building software, they were building structure for the internet. Their work transforms confusion into clarity, chaos into order, information into intelligence. To students in a university lab unknowingly created a system that would control the flow of human knowledge. This was not luck. It was vision meeting execution. And from this partnership, one of the most powerful companies in history was born. Birth of Google. The idea that started in a lab soon needed a real-world form. Larry Page and Sergey Brin transformed their research project into a real company. They named it Google, derived from the word Google, meaning the number 1 followed by 100 zeros, symbolizing infinite information. Their mission was simple but powerful. Organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. They started small, working from a garage using basic equipment and building everything themselves. Their first major funding came when investor Andy Bechtolsham wrote them a check on the spot, simply based on their idea. That moment changed everything. Google was no longer a project, it was a company. But unlike other startups, Google focused on simplicity. No complicated design, no unnecessary features, just speed, accuracy, and clarity. Users trusted it because it worked. It didn't confuse, it solved, it didn't distract, it delivered. Google grew because people believed in it. It became part of daily life, not through marketing, but through value. Larry Page didn't build Google as a business first. He built it as a system first. The business followed naturally. The garage startup soon became a global company, but the mission stayed the same. Organize information, simplify access, and empower people with knowledge. Google wasn't just a company. It became infrastructure, expansion, and global power. Google didn't remain a search engine. It became a digital empire. Step by step, it expanded into every part of human life. Gmail changed communication. YouTube changed entertainment. Android changed mobile technology. Google Maps changed navigation. Chrome changed browsing. Google Drive changed work culture. Slowly, Google became invisible, not because it disappeared, but because it became normal. People didn't notice it anymore because they depended on it. The business model evolved through advertising, but the real power was data. Google didn't just store information, it understood behavior. It learned how humans think, search, move, communicate, and decide. Larry Page wasn't building products, he was building infrastructure. Google became the backbone of the digital world. Countries, companies, schools, governments, and businesses all became dependent on its systems. The world started running on Google's technology. This level of power was not created by marketing, it was created by design. Google didn't chase users, users chased Google. Larry Page's vision turned technology into necessity. This was no longer innovation. This was integration. Google was no longer optional. It was essential. Alphabet and future vision. In 2015, Larry Page restructured Google and created Alphabet Inc. This move wasn't business, it was strategy. Alphabet became the parent company, and Google became just one part of a much larger vision. This allowed Larry Page to focus on future technology instead of daily operations. His vision shifted from services to civilization-level systems. Alphabet invested in artificial intelligence, self-driving cars Waymo, health technology, biotechnology, smart cities, robotics, and life extension research. Larry Page was no longer thinking about apps. He was thinking about human evolution. He believed technology should not just make life easier, it should make life better, longer, smarter, healthier, safer. His focus moved from profit to progress, from products to progress, from users to humanity. Alphabet became a future lab, not a company. Larry Page didn't want to control markets, he wanted to redesign systems. Transportation, health, energy, cities, intelligence, everything became part of the mission. His thinking moved beyond business into civilization design, personality, and leadership. Larry Page is not a celebrity CEO. He is quiet, introverted, and private. He avoids fame, media, and attention. He doesn't chase spotlight, he chases systems. His leadership style is vision-based, not authority-based. He believes in long-term thinking, not short-term success. He invests in ideas that take decades, not quarters. He is known for risk-taking, but calculated risk, vision-driven risk. He doesn't build for trends, he builds for the future. His leadership is not emotional, it is logical, not loud, but deep. He doesn't inspire through speeches, he inspires through systems. Larry Page leads through structure, not status, through intelligence, not influence. His power doesn't come from money, it comes from architecture. He doesn't control people, he builds platforms that people depend on. That is a different kind of leadership, silent, invisible, but unstoppable. Legacy, then impact. Larry Page's legacy is not wealth. It is structure. He didn't just build a company, he built a foundation of the digital world. The way humans search, learn, work, communicate, travel, and think has been reshaped by his systems. Google is not just a tool, it is human infrastructure. His impact is invisible but permanent. Future generations will not remember Google as a company. They will remember it as a system. Larry Page changed how knowledge flows in human civilization. He turned information into power, structure into influence, and systems into control. His story proves that curiosity can build empires, that ideas can redesign civilizations, and that vision can outlive money. From a curious child, surrounded by books and computers, to a system architect shaping the future of humanity, Larry Page's journey is not success, it is transformation, not growth. Evolution, na business. Civilization, design. Larry Page's story is not just the story of a man, it is the story of a mindset that reshaped the world. From a child surrounded by books and computers to the architect of the world's most powerful information system. His journey proves that curiosity can be more powerful than wealth, and vision can be stronger than power. He didn't chase fame, he didn't chase attention, and he didn't chase money. He chased understanding, structure, and progress. Google was never just a company. It became the backbone of modern life. The invisible system that billions of people depend on every single day without even realizing it. Larry Page showed the world that real influence doesn't come from noise, it comes from systems. That real leadership isn't about being seen, it's about being essential. His life teaches one simple truth. You don't need to be loud to change the world. You don't need to be famous to be powerful, and you don't need to be rich to start something great. You need vision, curiosity, and the courage to think differently. Because one idea, in the right mind, at the right time, can change the direction of human history. And Larry Page didn't just build a company, he built the future.